G'day, 43 OG. How you going, mate?
I'm well, thank you, Dozer. How are you?
That's awesome, mate. I'm pretty stoked. I'm pretty excited about this Thos documentary coming out, and the resulting Thos pump that we've been seeing.
Yes. I think we've been waiting patiently for quite a while. So
we're good at that.
It. Yeah. So, not that we had much choice in the matter. So to finally see it on streaming platforms and to see that it's going to be accessible. Now, there was a bit of confusion as to whether it was going to be accessible in our part of the world, but my understanding is that it's going to be available on Amazon Prime and
Apple TV, I think.
As far as I know, with Amazon Prime, you can just VPN it. You really.
Well, that's what I was going to say is because I don't have Apple TV, right? But if it's not on, I do have Amazon Prime. If it's not on Prime, like for the Aussie one, I'll just dial in the VPN and then sign up to like a 3-month free, thing with Apple TV, and then just get it that way. So I'm pretty confident that
you might still have to pay for it. Like you might still have to,
like $15 or something.
Yeah, and I think they wanted to get it onto a platform. So I have no insight into what happened, but this is just watching and just seeing how it's played out. I can't help but think that they wanted to get it onto a platform, and they wanted to get it onto a platform so that people could just watch it for not for free, but as a part of their subscription, right? Yeah. But it seems to me that hasn't come to pass, and they've elected now, in the interest of just getting it out there, they've elected to go with pay to play, which I think that's great. I think that's
as
fine.
many people can see it as possible. I'm stoked. Yeah.
If there's going to be options to gift it through Amazon Prime, I will be giving that as gifts to many people.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
I will be personally contributing to to the purchasing of that and gifting it as many times as as you can imagine.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited, man. I'm almost as excited as I am about this beer. Oh, there we go.
Cheers.
Yes, cheers, mate. I've got the Peroni today. Oh, you're on the waters. I was part of the Peroni gang. I thought we started the Peroni gang, but you've left me hanging.
I would love to be in the Peroni gang, but I have to go. I have to drive after this. So
that's the beauty of the Peroni gang, bro, is that there's only one standard drink, isn't it, per hour? Yeah. By the end of the stream, it's like assimilated into your body.
I don't have a fridge where I am, mate. So it's
no, I'm just teasing.
It's a bit too much. I'm just rehydrating because I had a roll today.
Awesome.
I went to jiu-jitsu.
Oh, this morning. Oh man, you're better than I am. Every time I go to martial arts like MMA, I'm wrecked for the rest of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just did jiu-jitsu. I just did grappling. So
but even that in this heat, I mean, it's hot here. It's like it's been 39 degrees the last few days, which is like over 100 degrees Fahrenheit for the Americans. And I can tell you, doing BJJ and although we do no gi BJJ.
Yeah, I did no gi. I mainly do no gi.
Yeah. And but the sparring is what's been getting me. I don't know if you can see, I've got like mad bruises on my
I can see
arm. That was from Tuesday. That's from blocking head kicks because I kept getting, this guy just kept peppering me with head kicks, and I was just like, oh, okay. It's like, and then so I was checking him though. This was cool. This was funny. I was checking him with my shins, and he kept like rubbing his shins, and I was like, "You all right, bro?" And he's like, "Yeah, all good." And like, I had a couple of like small bruises on my shins, but by the end of the thing, he had this massive like hematoma, like massive like lump on his shin. It just come out like even in the time that we were in the hour that we were sparring.
Just from
he was trying to pretend. He's just like, oh, my shins. Just from me checking them, like that wasn't even. But sometimes checks, I think.
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah. That's right. I've been checking kicks for like 10 years, so my shins have like lost all their like nerve endings or whatever in them.
All the sensitivity. They're like that guy in kickboxer who's just like kicking the fucking metal pole.
Not quite the tompo against that concrete thing. That's so cool. Yeah. Yeah. That's wicked.
What did I think was a metal pole? Was it the concrete
I used
thing?
to actually, I think it was concrete. I used to actually do that for shin conditioning. I used to kick like a padded metal pole and I had to put weights on it because the whole thing would move. And it was like really satisfying when you'd hear the whole thing shake. But it wasn't quite Tong Po. Like he was like making the whole foundations in the building shake.
It'd take a long time. You'd have to like micro fracture your shins for like years. For years and years, so that they just get stronger and just like really get, you know.
My shins are corrugated, man. They've got like little lumps all the way there forever, little bumps all the way through them.
So I was having a roll with a guy today who he was pretty good. By my standards, he was pretty good. And he was just like really just putting it on me, just like
putting his weight on you, like pressure.
No, just putting it on me as in just like one thing after the other, after the other. And luckily I just kept, like, I didn't get subbed, but I just kept escaping them because even though I haven't like done a lot of jiu-jitsu in a number of years, so I'm like sort of all the new guys, like what they're learning, like I've forgotten what they've learned. Do you know what I mean? Like I used to be. But your muscle memory will be there though. Like that's the thing. My muscle memory, like I was like surprised as I was escaping out of all this stuff that he was putting on me. I just like knew which way to go and stuff just naturally. But if I had to explain it to someone how to do it, I wouldn't be able to explain it. And it's just amazing how your body remembers. If you've been doing it for years, like I did it. I've done it for many, many years, man. But it's just amazing how much your body remembers. It's amazing. It's surprising to me.
Plus, I think there's good practices things like you've seen that John Danaher guy. Yeah, he trains like GSP and a whole bunch of guys. But Gordon Ryan, yeah. So he's got this thing about like just basically like BJJ, like principles, like basically getting like passing the legs, you know, putting pressure on, you know, using your legs, like using your hips and using a lot of your like power from your legs and stuff like that, rather than, because a lot of people gas out hard with their arms. They're trying to control people with their arms, whereas just, and you see that with like, you know, Nurmagomedov and you know, Khabib and these sort of guys. They're really controlling with their legs. But if you can pass those hips, it's like someone tries to put a triangle on or something. Can you just pass that hips and you can get into side control? But all those like good practice things, it's not even like you're doing some complicated go-go palata or whatever. It's just like you're just passing hips and just trying not to get you know, in a position where it's too late. Like you know, you've got to like, you can see what they're trying to set up and you're like, nah, I'm not going to let you set that up properly. Hey, look who's here. It's Jexa.
Hey, how you going, guys?
Hey, Jexa. How you going, mate? Yeah, so we just got full distracted talking about MMA for a bit. How you been, Jexa?
You're both in the, what is it? BJJ.
BJJ. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's been lots of fun. And I've also
It's a new setup. This is a new setup, isn't it, Jexa? What's going on?
It is. I've reorganized my whole office, shifted to the other end of the office, and had some curtains and stuff put in, which I've been meaning to do for a while. So, yeah, a little bit more cozy in here now.
Yeah,
very nice.
Good. I just was quickly going to say, shout out to the Aussies because we won the World Cup. We did it.
In what? How ignorant?
You're like, I don't watch cricket. In the cricket, man, in the cricket, we it was like, I was joking about it last week, saying like how we just claim that it's the World Cup, even though the whole world's not participating. Like it's basically the Commonwealth Cup because only really, you know, countries that have been colonized by England that actually participate in cricket.
Who is it? Like of any note, who is there? There's Australia, there's India, there's Pakistan.
India's got like 1 billion people, man. That's that's pretty.
Yep.
And to beat them in India as well, I thought it was quite formidable, really. And we pissed off a lot of Indians. Like they were just like these damn Aussies.
What other teams are there? South Africa have a
Pakistan,
team?
Sri Lanka,
Do
a
they
lot
have a
of the
team?
subcontinent.
Yeah.
Yeah, South Africa. Yeah, England.
Sri Lanka.
Yeah, and then then there's the rest.
Do the
ones that we
Kiwis
just
get a?
smashed.
Do the
The
Kiwis get
get a
a
gig.
crack over there? Yeah.
Yeah, they did really well as well. Shout out to the Kiwis. Is it Hex Token? He's a Kiwi.
Yep.
That token stream guy, Hex Token.
Shout out to the Kiwis.
Shout out to the Kiwis. Yep, the Anzacs. One thing I can say is I think because I'm now streaming through Restream, I can pull up comments. That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, cool.
Let me see if I do it. There you go. Clinton. This is the first comment on this happy hour to be.
Let's be useful for the people in the chat or the people watching.
Yes. Okay.
Let's give them,
if you insist,
like some Black Friday deals. Yeah, no. Just because we've spent, and this is mainly my fault for bringing it up, but we've spent the last 12 minutes talking about sports, and most people do not give a shit, especially what we've been talking about.
Yes,
we haven't been talking about like
Shout out, yeah.
So, any Black Friday deals at the moment?
Oh,
I've put my one out there in our chat this morning.
X and PulseChain, I would say.
Yeah, I'm very security related.
I saw that.
Yeah, so this was what's come about is I've been on an ongoing battle to try and keep my kids offline, which is a bit ironic considering how much time I spend online, but just trying to curb mostly the YouTube watching and shit like that. And we have so many devices in the house. It's not funny. So iPads, phones, their school computers, Android TVs, you name it. We've got all these bloody devices, and it's really hard to try and get a lid on them all. So I've got apps on some things that can help. And then I was out with a friend, and he said, "I'll get one of these little devices," and it's called a Firewalla. And really simple. All it is one cable. Just plug it into your router or your switch or whatever you've got sitting on the network, and it can look across the whole network and analyze the traffic. So it does all the monitoring and restricting of like based on time and sites and device. So you can actually I can fix the issues I'm having with my kids on all the devices. But all the extra stuff that comes with it, I'm sitting there going, actually, this is pretty cool. So it does, whilst it's looking at your network, it's doing intrusion prevention detection. So it's getting a feel for what devices normally do what, and this is normally pretty high-end stuff. So if something happens on the network that is considered abnormal, it will throw off alerts and things like that. So for all the kind of stuff that we do, this is pretty cool shit.
What's the software? What is the software?
Do you want to bring it up? I can try and bring it up. And
do you know what software it is? Is it based on anything? Is it open source? Is it?
They're running you'll like this 43. So they're running on top of Linux, and then the way their software is built, it's all Dockerized. So they've got it in a Docker, which then means you can start adding other things on top of this little device as well. So if you've got a particular service that you want to run, you can do it.
Yep.
Now, it can't run things like PulseChain nodes and stuff like that. It just doesn't have the.
It looks like a small, like a single board computer. That's the
It's a tiny little device.
Is it like a Raspberry Pi or something? Or something like
that? I think it's a custom made board, to be honest. I think it's something they've had manufactured. It's not like a.
They're probably, you reckon they usually go with something like a basic, because to build your own is not like, you really do need to sell a lot of units to justify. So it's probably, I wouldn't be surprised if it's something that maybe there is. Let's have a look.
This is the one, yeah? You're talking about?
That's the one. I mean, you go have a look at their other products, and they do others. So they're getting them custom built. Like, they got 5 or 6 ports on them and stuff like that.
Awesome, man. No, I know that you know your security stuff like inside out. So I really respect that. I'll check it out, man, for sure.
So I've just ordered one. I haven't installed it and played with it. So I might come back and say, look, it's a bucket of shit. But on the surface, on the surface, if this does half of what it says it can do and does it efficiently, then I'll be pretty happy with it. For I think it's like a couple $100.
Is there a GitHub, or it's closed source?
Don't know. I haven't had a good dig around like that, mate. I just needed a tool to help me with a particular issue. Just so happens this does a whole lot of other stuff. Really cool for hiding all your DNS requests and things like that, because we leak a lot of information when we make DNS requests. So in a lot of cases, you make a DNS request and it'll go off to your ISP to request that the ultimate IP that it needs to get to. So you're basically, whilst your communication, say, between you and hex.com might be secured, it's running over HTTPS, the actual initial request to say, okay, I'm coming from this computer and I want to get there, isn't. So that's done in clear text. So the ISP knows that you've requested to go to this site over here. So this will actually, it does it all over HTTPS as well. So you're actually obscuring all that DNS information that you normally leak, which sounds all nerdy and stuff like that. But this device, you basically just plug it in and it handles all of that crap. So you don't have to be a computer whiz to understand it all. So that's what I really like about it.
All right. I'm going to get one.
It's pretty cool. It does all your VLANs, all your computers in the house, and sorts all that sort of stuff out. So segments all your network. If a guest comes onto your network, isolates that guest. Pretty cool.
Yeah,
sounds awesome.
I'm sold.
I have to check it out.
I'm a sucker for this sort of stuff. Like if there's like Tangent like got me onto the Helm thing, and then they went out of business like less than a year after.
Oh, no.
So I had this like little computer. So I actually repurposed it. Like I found an OS built for that, which they had on their website, which I repurposed it as a Pi hole. You guys, have you heard of a Pi hole?
I have, but tell me more about it. I've heard you mention it once.
Sounds dodgy.
Yeah.
It sounds dodgy.
It sounds dodgy. No, it's good because it's like on a Raspberry Pi, and essentially it's essentially something that you can run on any small board computer. Any Linux, you can run it on. You can even run it on if you've got a Synology or something like that, you can run it on that as well. And it just basically, you can just block a lot of the shit coming onto your network. You can just block stuff like trackers and stuff like that, because there are lists that you can load into it, and it's pretty cool. So it's probably doing a little bit of what this thing that you've mentioned does. It's probably doing a little bit, but where I think it's probably different is that the restriction of, like, when you say like it can restrict YouTube stuff, like in what way can it restrict? Like, will it just restrict YouTube completely, or can you?
It seems like it goes pretty deep, because it can actually do ad blocking and everything. So.
Well, that's what a Pi hole does. And they're probably using that code because that's open, that's free and open source. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they're using that code. But the thing that's interesting that you're talking about is this thing has an intrusion detection system. Yeah. Does it have intrusion prevention though? Intrusion
prevention, yeah. So it says IPS, so that's what that is. And this is from way back when I was doing all of my stuff on IT. That was. So I was, my main sort of core competencies was edge routers and firewalls and protecting all that part of the network. And the IPS stuff does more across all the internals. So it does the edge stuff as well, but it's really monitoring the internal stuff. And I sort of got out of the game when all that was really, really getting a lot deeper, and everyone was actually wanting to implement that, and it was hell expensive at the time, very, very expensive, because it was all Cisco based products, and the licensing and everything that goes with that is just insane. So it was sort of out of the reach of most people. But this one here, if it can do what it says it can do, it's actually affordable. I don't know why you wouldn't put it on your network.
Just saw this comment here from DGen Gem Hunter. thoughts on the 9 mil V3, like Uniswap V3 asymmetric liquidity launching apparently on Sunday.
I think it's great that we're getting more of those tools come on the network. I'm a little bit sad that we're getting V3 as well, though, because it changes the way liquidity pools work a little bit.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, how much liquidity do you think will actually be on there?
Don't know. Yeah, not sure. Like it is definitely a useful tool. I think it's much better for the liquidity providers using V3, but whether or not
this is the V2. This is the V2 I've got here for 9 mil, but 177K, 100K, 50K. So yeah, I mean, it's not. They're not, negligible, but I suppose
the 9 mil guys. The 9 mil guys are building good stuff.
Yeah, they haven't been out for that long either, so they're actually taken off quite well, really. So yeah, I don't know. I'd be interested to see what happens with the V3.
Their block explorer is pretty neat as well, and it sounds pretty boring. Why would you get excited about a block explorer? But their APIs on that are awesome. All the information you can pull out and really fast. And
yeah. I haven't done any of the liquidity providing on here. Oh, is there a funny class?
They're all still going on about the pie
hole jokes. So yeah, the dirty old jokes. Ghost chaps, bro. Oh, okay. Can't see the comments on the YouTube. That's interesting.
Yeah. I'm just I'm looking at the comments in StreamYard in the chat in StreamYard, but I don't see, they don't match up with all the comments in the DeFi Down Under YouTube. But I'm guessing you're also streaming to DeFi with Dozer.
Yeah. I am, but the only ones that I'm seeing are from DeFi Down Under. So this is the first time. This is a bit of an experiment. It might be because sometimes you can have top comments and then you have all comments. Maybe they're just like censoring.
I think Claz must be on DeFi with Dozer.
Maybe. It's a bit of an experiment to sort of see.
Not. I just can't see any of Claz's in the DeFi Down Under YouTube.
I can pull it up, but I just don't want the audio to. It might just be. Have you got live chat or top chat? Oh no, I can see most of it. I think. Who knows, man? We'll have to figure it out. Oh no, I've got that. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the screen. I've got that infinity loop going on. I haven't been sleeping much, man. Sorry, I've been too busy staying up watching cricket and sweating in this heat. How have you been going the heat, Jexa?
Love it. This is the way to live.
Love it?
I've been in the pool at all hours
of the night. You got a pool, have you? I was going to say, it's pool life talk. That's what that is. That's the giveaway.
Yeah, like 9 o'clock at night, I'm still out there flapping around in the pool. It's good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Don't have a pool,
you're living the life. We have not got a pool, but my kids are adamant that we're going to have one.
Yes, next bull run.
And I'm like, I don't know how that's happening, but
do it before they get too old, mate. Our kids are teenagers now, and they're a little bit less interested in it. But when they're younger, they're all about it.
When 1x, I saw that comment the other day. I thought that was hilarious. When 1x, I guess they were talking about the sack price, but like technically everything's a 1x. So I don't know what they were.
Before we move on, I think we should finish this thread about like what are the good Black Friday deals on at the moment. Man. So
I would say PulseChain, PLSX.
yes, of course. But I wouldn't say that's a Black Friday deal. That's been a Black 2023 deal, I would say.
Yes, that's true.
So the one that I've got for you guys is a cloud storage website called pCloud. Now, on Black Friday, they usually have a massive discount on their lifetime deal. So that means you pay. It's a once payment, and it's can you bring it up? It's called pcloud.com. and it's I think it's a huge discount off the price, and it's lifetime. So you pay it once, and then as long as they're in business, you never have to pay anything else.
As long as they don't do a helm
How,
on you.
As long as they don't do a helm.
Do you use P Cloud now? Or you don't have to say if you don't want,
but I actually don't. I've got it. I've got the subscription, but I don't use it. But the way I would use it is not to actually store any readable data in there. You would just store like encrypted encrypted stuff on there. Just stuff that's fully heavily encrypted.
The reason for asking is I'm talking years ago now, probably 8, even more years ago. I went and done a whole breakdown on all the different file storage services, just trying to find something I was happy with from a security point of view. And obviously all the instant ones like Dropbox and Drive and OneCloud and all that shit just got wiped off because they can read everything that you've got on there. So they were straight out the door for me. But this was one that actually made my shortlist.
So if you go to pricing,
I can't remember the reason why I didn't end up going with this, but this was high up there. I think it just had when I dug down into a little bit, there was 1 or 2 features that they didn't have that I needed.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things with it that so this is the way I see it. I feel like people should, if you're capable, you should host your own file server, and you should host your own you should keep all your photos yourself. Like you shouldn't back up to Google Cloud and iCloud and all of them, because then they're just scanning all your photos and they've got all the facial recognition data on you and everyone that you like. So how do you know? You don't know what they're doing with this info in the background. Are they linking up? Are they creating some sort of network of who knows who through photo recognition?
Or what?
We
don't
know
what. So when you take a photo with a camera these days, how much metadata is stored on that file, like location? So much stuff.
There's
so it's not just the actual pictures; it's all the metadata that goes along with it these days.
So a really good solution.
Data in that as well.
I was just going to say a really good solution is Synology for people if they want to host their own file server. So their file server,
I don't know that one.
Operates very much. It's a NAS and it comes with an OS, like a pretty good OS, and lots of apps. And you can use it like Google Drive, exactly the same as Google Drive on your computer. So it will automatically sync to your own NAS. You don't have to use that. You can use TrueNAS, or you can use like other options that don't cost. But this is such an easy option. And just with P Cloud, the reason I thought that was a good option is because it's a lifetime deal.
Yeah, I suppose so. But do you trust? I don't really trust cloud services, to be honest.
I trust it if it's encrypted. Like I would only store encrypted shit that I'm transferring onto there that's already encrypted.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I've encrypted something locally on my computer, and then I'm uploading something that's already encrypted up into the cloud and just storing an encrypted version of whatever I've got up in the cloud.
No, you're doing the right thing. It's funny because people rely on it, and because I turned all that cloud stuff off, and I just do storage. But I had an engineer come into work and was like, he had this tablet and he's writing notes and he's doing all this stuff, and he's like, oh yeah, back it up on the cloud. And I was just like, the cloud is just someone else's computer, right? Like that old line, there's nothing supernatural about it. And he's like, no, it's the best. Look, I'll watch this, I'll sync it. And he deleted all of his notes. It's synced with the cloud right in front of me, deleted all of his shit. And he's like, oh man, I've lost it all. And I was just like,
so that's what's so good about something like a Synology. Something like a Synology, you just set up like a nightly, it's got apps and stuff in there. You set up a nightly backup, and you can back up. You can back up to a local a USB drive that's connected to your Synology, or you can back up to another Synology using something like rsync, which is like it's something that's on Linux. I'm not sure if you've ever used rsync before. It's a really it allows you to do incremental backups. So every night when you're backing up, you're backing up, you're just adding on the extra little bits, and you can keep,
and it's pretty straightforward. Like you can just do one-way syncs and things like that, because it's that whole two-way sync, that thing that's just
it's a push. It's a push sync. It's not a pull.
It's just I don't know.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is your hang on, we're talking about different things. Your cloud, with, let's say if you're using Synology, your cloud is you've just got your computer, for example, and I'm just using files, making changes, and that will back up to the Synology in real time. And then let's say I'm using my phone taking photos, and that's backing up the photos to the Synology as well.
Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. And then but then you're doing the it's just syncing, right? But then you're doing the backup on a nightly basis or as often as you like. And that is keeping an incremental backup for as long as you want. You can keep like 2 years worth of backups.
Yeah.
And then restore older versions. Like, let's say you fuck something up and just delete everything.
Yeah.
And then you just say, oh, well, I'll just go back and at least I'll get most of my stuff.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So Magic Carpet Ride was talking about a question, I think, to Jexa about that. What's your thoughts on Ledger's being bought at Officeworks?
I'm in two minds about it, actually. Like, I think it's scary because it opens up more avenues for supply chain type attacks. But I mean, the chances of that happening they're pretty slim. Like, when you get a device, you know within reason if it's been tampered with, unless someone's gone like,
if they've got the keys already.
I don't know. I've opened one before. They're pretty easy to open.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust that unless you're getting it straight from the source, really. Like if you go to Trezor.io and it's got that little hologram.
Most attacks, so a lot of the attacks that happened with the Ledgers back in the day, they were sending out the devices with like a scratchy card. So they would preload the seed, they'd pre-initialize the device, get the seed words, put them on a card, write them all out, and then put that silver film over it. So when people got it, they went, okay, I've just got to scratch this shit off, and that's my seed words. So they weren't actually reinitializing the device. It had already been done. So that was the majority of the scams that happened. So can still happen from Officeworks? Yeah, you're probably dealing with people that are novice, so that's a bit scary from that point of view. But you would think, I wouldn't trust. Like if you knew what you're doing, then I think you'd be okay because you'd know whether the device has been preloaded or not. The real one you don't know about is, okay, has someone actually opened it up and done something? That's the thing you don't know. And that's where I'd be going, okay, it's a little bit scary, but
I used to be like so pro these little devices, so very much for these little devices. And I still am, but I'm not as pro, like I'm coming back to general purpose computing in a big way, just because I feel like everything can get exploited, right? And I'm talking about the average person. For the average person, you want that little device. You want like a Trezor T. For the average person, yes, 100%. But like when you get to a certain, like, I think level, I don't know. Like if your shit is tight, then your shit is tight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I mean, I was going to say, most hexagons and stuff aren't keeping stuff on exchanges, and they've listened to Papa B. They've done all the, hex safe win stuff. We've sort of done this, and we've had a long time to prepare, really, in the bear market. So I think at this point, and I always say that as well when I'm like onboarding people, I'm just like, number one thing is security, get that sorted first, and then now you can play around.
The thing I'm more excited about from an accessibility point of view is Trezor releasing their new device, because you have their
where is
their Model T. Where is it?
Is it on their website?
Yeah. So you got the Model T, which is a little bit expensive for people that just want to dip their toe in crypto. Like, it's not crazy, but it's like $300 or so by the time you do currency conversions and whatever. Maybe a little bit more. That's a little bit cost prohibitive, but the new one I think is, at the moment, I think it's like $50 or $60 or something. And that does all the advanced stuff like the Shamir secrets, which was missing on their Model 1.
The Model Ts are pretty cool.
So hang on, which?
Okay,
so the Model T is now
that's been around
150.
Yeah, that's a Black Friday deal for you, 40%
Black
off.
Friday at the moment. Yeah.
The one, so Model 1 was the first one.
Yep, that's a bucket of shit. Don't get it.
And then the T came out after that. Yeah, don't get that.
Yeah.
But on their website, I only see those two.
Yeah, well, I think they're phasing out.
So is there a new one?
They call it the Safe 3.
Yeah, literally only in the last week this has become available. Okay. So they've probably phasing out the other one.
This is the Safe 3 you're talking about?
Yeah.
Because I think there was the one.
I can't see it on their website. That's all.
No,
I've got it up here, man.
You're looking at.
He's not looking at the screen.
I thought that was you browsing. That's Belzer browsing, is it?
What
do you mean you can't?
Hang on. Where is this?
The
Trezor Safe 3. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't hurt to have, a few of these Trezors, and you can spread your risk, I guess. And you can back them up with,
Trezor Safe 3.
You can back them up with, really metal plates. Yeah, Cal, I think that's an interesting point as well. T's good. My finger's a bit too big for the touchscreen. Yeah, I've got big fingers too. Like, I don't know how they're like, I'm sitting there going, anyway, I don't think they're made for big hands.
So that piece, that first one, the Trezor 1, that Trezor 1, the reason that was a piece of crap is because if you were using the passphrase option, you would need to type it into the device that you're using.
Okay.
And that's why that was not a good option for the average person, because of keyloggers and that sort of stuff. So, and another little thing that most people probably don't do or realize, and this is something absolutely that you should do when you're using the Trezor, when you're typing in a seed phrase, whether you have a passphrase.
Yeah.
Whether you've got a passphrase or not, when you get that option in the browser, and you get an option to either enter a passphrase into the device or just go to the standard wallet, you should never click that standard wallet option. You should always click enter in a passphrase. And if you don't, if you just want to get to the standard wallet, select the tick and not enter anything. Do it on the device.
Okay,
that's something just
interesting. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah,
I think
interesting. Add some one extra
okay,
step.
So while we're talking about all this sort of nerdy security stuff, one thing I noticed Rabbi has done the other day, and I'm not sure if there's any other wallet that does this at the moment, software wallet, is you can actually, and I'll say this with a caveat, don't do this, but it's good that it can do it. You can actually restore a wallet with a passphrase on there.
Okay.
So if you were in a pinch, let's just say your device has died or something like that, or Trezor goes out of business or whatever the reason is, and you need to be able to access your device with a passphrase. Now you've got an option.
Yeah. Okay. I'd say just stamp your seed in metal.
Never trust that. Would you trust it? Would you?
Nah,
No, I
wouldn't do
wouldn't.
that.
No.
I thought you were going to say that. I saw your post the other day, Jexa, about I think Pulse Wallet was saying that
They forked
the
Rabby.
Rabby wallet. Yeah, they forked Rabby, but
Yeah.
they said it wasn't open source. The code wasn't open source because they couldn't build it from the fork, which was slightly concerning if it's not open source. But then a bunch of other people sort of said it wasn't a big deal. So I don't know. Have to ask Papa B. But yeah, that was a concern, wasn't it?
It's going to be interesting to see what those guys do with the Rabby wallet.
But if you're using a hardware wallet, even if Rabby does have some code in there, I don't see how it's.
What you don't know.
I think as long as you've got a hardware.
Data. Yeah, it's more about
what are they in terms of IP and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think you're safe in terms of, like, obviously your keys and all that are secure, but it's more
Yeah.
Hey, can I put something to you guys? Can I put something to you guys? The Hex conference is on, I think, in January. Are you guys in it at all?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Why don't we do see if us three can do something, just us three on security? What do you think of that? Did you guys have anything planned?
Did you guys have anything? A security expert, but
I think, dude, you probably consider yourself not a security expert, but when it comes to crypto, you're probably pretty much a security expert compared to everyone else, mate. You know?
Well, maybe compared to the general population, but there's people like Magic Carpet Ride, Jexa, yourself, like Papa B. I've learned everything I've learned, and look, it's a credit to the Hexagon community. Actually, that everything that I've learned has actually been from Hexagons, and they're very forthcoming with security, and all this sort of stuff. So everyone's trying to help each other out, sort of like team Hexago, which is awesome. And I'd say if I can help pass some of that on, share the love when it comes to security, then yeah, I'd be happy to. But everything that I know is pretty much taught by you guys and by the other community members. So yeah.
If you guys are interested, I can, we can put that to Maddie.
Team Hexago. We just
I mean, as a minimum, we probably should just do an Aussie panel anyway.
There probably is a security one there anyway. I think.
Yeah, I'm sure a bunch of or someone would be doing one. All of the benign guys will be doing one.
Well, the benign guys, yeah.
But when I think security, I mean more general stuff. Like, because crypto security, it's pretty much covered. But like just other general stuff. Like I really would like to talk about how I think people should use Tails, like people should use Tails as a way to, do more private, have more private computer sessions, things like that, like things that people should use. People should use.
You could do some tutorials like on the DeFi Down Under channel. I was thinking about doing that as well. Just some basic ones where you go, check this out, check that out. People you might get a few.
I always think about doing them, and then when I think about like actually doing them, I'm just like, and also Tails is not like, I don't know if I haven't tried to bring that up in a VM, because you'd need to have a VM just so that you can display what you're doing. So I haven't tried.
I've been meaning to update all the Hex Safe videos, and every time I think about doing them the same, I go, man, I know what's going to be involved. Setting up all the environment and stuff.
Got a couple of questions. What's the latest with Richard Hart? And Brizology is in here. So I think basically what happened with the SEC case is that it's been they still haven't served him, and they're going to wait. I think they've given them until January 30th to serve him, or to show that they've made attempts to serve. So it's just the classic judicial.
This is going to drag out
process.
For a long.
It's going to drag out forever. Yeah.
If you're worried about that and you're paying attention to that, thinking that's going to dictate what's going to happen over the course of the market, you're doing it all wrong.
No one else cares. Listen, no one cares, guys.
This is a good point.
When we go into the hyperball, no one is caring about that, because everyone's got lawsuits with the SEC.
Yeah, everyone.
Fucking
This is what I
everyone.
was going to say.
Yeah.
It's like,
Wait,
if
check
that
this
is
out,
your
check this
reason
out.
for not buying Hex, if that's your reason for not buying Hex, then you're not buying any crypto, because every single crypto has a fucking lawsuit against them from the SEC.
100%.
They've just
43.
they've just
Check
called
this out.
Sorry, you go.
So I was just going to say, check this out. Like this just a picture says 1,000 words. So this is what cryptocurrencies are securities, a comprehensive list. So this was the one that I could find that was like the most obvious. Now, I can keep scrolling. It goes off the page. And we're talking a lot of big coins here that people would be like,
everything,
oh, Solana.
basically.
Solana's the next thing of the whatever. And Polygon or Cosmos Sand. Oh, gaming tokens, whatever. Binance. I mean, they just paid $4 million, 4.3 billion with a B to the SEC. So
Wow.
thanks to the SEC.
Hang on. That is a lot. That is a lot of cash. Is that the SEC?
Scroll a bit more. I want to see how long this list is.
Yeah, or was it the DOJ that actually got that they made CZ pay it $4.3 billion the other day?
I don't know who it is.
That.
Whoever's
I think it was the DOJ, because it was that
Yellen,
that little
making off like bandits. My goodness.
Well, this is the funny thing, and there's actually a really cool crypto bubble, Lil Bubble sort of diss track, which you can check out. I was going to play it, but I don't know about the copyright strikes. But right at the very end, because he's like taking the piss, and then there's a classic line. I think it's from that Yellen lady, and she says, it's something along the line. I'm paraphrasing, but it's like they're doing this to keep you safe. Like that's the intention, is that they're saving us, and that's been their theme the whole time, that they're protecting us, that the SEC are like
Janet Yellen is protecting us.
Janet Yellen.
If we need protection, look, next time I need protection from a garden gnome, I'll let her know.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. And so they get this $4 billion, right? And then so how is that protecting us? They've got $4 billion, 4.3 billion, and our coins get wrecked, and they've protected us.
They can
it's like,
put out more lawsuits. They got more money to fund more lawsuits against, Well,
what was interesting is we were talking about this in our private chat, where Australia's coming out with some new guidelines on taxation around DeFi and yada yada, and that's a whole topic we could get into in itself. But the comment I made was, at least our government's honest about wanting to steal your money. So you got the US are coming in to protect you, but really all they want is a slice of the pie and get their tax revenue. At least Australia doesn't attack you, but then it tells you that they're coming after you.
Anyway. They're very forthcoming in their overreach. Their overreach is very straightforward. It's like, hey, if you wrap a token, that's a taxable event. So what and this is, by the way, this is guidance. So there's not actually anything in legislation anywhere that says anything along these lines. It's just what some people like. It's basically what that US candidate, US presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy was talking about, and I played a clip on the Hex Late Show. How agencies or government agencies are creating laws or enforcing laws that don't actually exist. So for them to come along and say, hey, wrapping a token is a taxable event. Well, why don't you what is a token? And if you have a look in their definitions of what tokens are, it's like, wait a second. I think you guys are just building this castle of playing cards of meaning of what you were defining things as, but the reality is over here somewhere. It's not what you guys are defining things as. So it's going to. I hope some people
as well.
If I swap my Pokemon card for your Pokemon card, have I? Well, that's not a good analogy. I was going to say.
Oh, but that was a good analogy, where they were saying in terms of collectibles, right? You collect all sorts of things. People collect stupid shit, and it can the speculative value of that thing that they've collected could be worth X amount. And so, for example, a Pokemon card. But the second you tokenize that Pokemon card and it's a collectible, it's worth money. Now that makes it a security because it's tokenized. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No, it doesn't.
I was trying to come up with a good analogy for the wrapping, and the only other one I had was the
wrapping.
Yeah, so the one I had, which falls apart pretty quickly, was when you're holding cash. If you take that cash into the bank and deposit it, have you just wrapped it? If you take it out from an ATM, have you unwrapped it? Because you're taking it from a physical thing to a digital thing. But it falls apart in that, well, they're worth $1 anyway, so there's no capital gain there. But it's a very slippery slope when you start.
The
wrapping thing.
This is the problem with what they do with this guidance on the ATO. The problem is that accountants and tax advisors go to the ATO website, read the guidance, and say, this is what the law is. This is the law. And then I need to argue with my tax guy who I'm paying, saying, wait a second, this is not the law. This is just what they're telling you, what they're giving you as guidance. And I need to have this discussion with them all the time. I have these discussions with them. And at the end of the day, I'm just like, well, they're just like, this is what we have to do. And I'm like, well, I guess I have to do it then. Like, what am I supposed to do? You know?
The one thing about that, the wrapping thing, and I mean, it's just because Coinly do it. I've sort of said this before, but because Coinly treat it as a separate contract address, like Wrap Pulse and Pulse. So I suspect it's part of their tracking software that they're like, we're treating this as two different. So therefore, it's a swap, and then there's a capital gains. So it might be because of their software.
Another one of my pet hates. The first time I gave my accountant, I gave him a report from some software that determined X, Y, Z, like these were all taxable events, and I gave it to them, and they're just like, "Yep, cool. This is what happened." And then I went back later, and I'm like, "Hang on a second," and I went back and looked through stuff, and it was making taxable events out of things that weren't taxable events and not doing taxable events on things that were. So it was all wrong. But the tax account, because it's from some software that spits something out, they just, this is right. You know, this is correct. You know, but if I go in and manually do it in a spreadsheet and give it to them and say, this is actually what it should be, then they're like, well, where's the authority in that? Well, where's the authority in any of the other stuff that we're getting, you know? So I look, we're in a sort of weird situation right now where what we're being told to do isn't actually the law. But we need to do it to make
you've got to follow what the ATO website says, man. Yeah. As much as you hate it, I reckon.
Exactly.
You just get reamed, even though it's otherwise.
But isn't that well, the thing is that you don't want to end up in court. You don't want to end up in court against them because they've got an infinite amount of money to throw at anything that you fight them on. So you're never going to do that. You just have to accept that this is what it is. You pay the taxes that they're going, whatever they're going to be, and you move on. You know.
I think the only non-advice I would give someone is, first of all, don't just settle for what your accountant tells you. Go and seek other advice from other accountants or other lawyers or wherever. Don't just stop at the first guy that's very compliance based. And so make sure that you get good advice first and foremost, but then also be consistent in whatever you do so that you can put your hand on your heart and say, look, this is the way I've treated it. This is the reason why I've done it like this. That way, if you do ever get the knock on the door that says, okay, we're going to have a look at your finances, you can go in there with a degree of confidence that you've been consistent. And then they'll say, even if you're wrong, even if you get it wrong, they're not going to send you to jail. They'll say, look, we've back calculated and we think you owe X amount. Or we think we owe you X amount, which will probably never happen.
Unlikely.
Unlikely. But you're not going to get a massive fine or end up in jail for that. They'll just say, look, we think you just got to square the ledger with us and happy days. So just have that sort of mindset, I think.
Yeah, thanks for that. Sorry, I just wanted to ask you guys' opinion as well about this, because SEC have also gone after Kraken. They've just literally finished giving a $4.3 billion fine to CZ and Binance. And I also wonder about that $4.3 billion, whether they're actually going to give that money to like the people who got scammed by SBF and in FTX, or are they just going to buy fucking yachts and stuff? Like,
no way.
That's okay. Just to clarify. Okay, cool. So they're just straight off extortion.
They got a $30 trillion hole. They're going to fill that.
Yeah. They've got a pie hole they need to fill. So, but
what have the victims got to do with any of this? Like the victims have nothing to do with anything.
You got $4.3 billion, and it's like you got a whole bunch of FTX victims over here. It's like, are you guys going to do anything about it? Oh no, that's our money. Like, we're not actually here to help you. Sorry, did you get the mistaken impression that we were actually trying to help you? So yeah, anyway, so the SEC are doing the same thing to Kraken. Okay, yes, go ahead.
Before you go on, sorry, I've got to head off, guys. You
got to bounce.
Yeah, I've got to bounce. Yeah. It's Friday afternoon. I've got things I need to go and attend to. But nice chatting to you, and I'll be listening to you for the rest of the stream. So cheers to everyone in the chat. See you next time. Good
to chat to you. Thanks for coming on, 43. Appreciate it, mate. Champion. So I guess then, this question might be for you, Jaxa. With this whole, SEC now going after Kraken, because, as we just sort of established, like there is an absolute metric shit ton of coins that are now have been labeled securities, not proven to be securities, just like slanderously labeled as securities. And, and like some of these ones like Cardano, whatever, Polygon, these are big coins, right? Huge market cap. And so all the exchanges that are listing these coins, are they not now trading in unregistered securities? And that seems to be now they're going after the exchanges in the US, saying that they are actually, apart from improperly mixing funds or whatever, but they're actually targeting them for running unregistered securities businesses because but they haven't proved that they're securities yet.
Was ETH on that list?
No.
Really?
It's not. It's one of the few. Yeah, because it's a WEF coin, man. It's the bug eaters. This is the Somi thing. Shout out to Somi.
Yeah. You know why it is, don't you? It is because BlackRock and all those dudes want to do their ETF.
Yep, 100%.
So they can't chuck that one in there because then it's
no. Because the BlackRock guys have got big bags and they pay big donations to presidential, super PACs and things like that. So they've got a bit of it's the lobbyists.
So what I find interesting with that then, how is Hex a security then? How is
so far down the list? Man.
So if you put ETH in that bucket where it's not a security, let's go back a step. So you got Bitcoin. Bitcoin forks into BCH or BSV or whatever flavor you want to choose.
Yep.
Is it a security? I'd argue not. It's just a fork of the chain.
Yes.
Yep.
So the argument is, I can see where you're going with this, because if Ethereum is not a security, then it's a fork of Ethereum. So why should it be a security? The argument against it is the way that the sacrifice. It's
Ethereum had a sacrifice.
Because it's not my opinion, because Ethereum was pre-mined, right? Like they had an ICO and they pre-mined and all that sort of stuff. So if that's not a security, and then this is even less of a security, because the way that the ICO was, if you're going to try and label it as that, was actually that people literally gave away their coins to an address that they had no control of. With complete, you could say no expectations, you can say with expectations. It doesn't matter. The point is they didn't control those coins anymore. They lost them. They've given them away. And at that point, people might get airdropped something in the future. And so I think the argument for PulseChain not being a security is very strong. But I can see how they say it's different to Ethereum, because technically Ethereum didn't have a sacrifice, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that would be a very interesting case to be brought forward if
Yes. Any lawyer worth his salt, you would think, would just point that out. That'd be like, look, you send money, you send coins. You're not even sending coins like from your wallet to another wallet. You're literally just updating a ledger somewhere, but you no longer control those coins anymore, right? At that point, you're responsibility ends. Like you have no control
Where
over
I
it.
think the only thing I think you could come unstuck on, if I'm trying to sort of pull it apart, is a timing issue. So if someone were to come after PulseChain prior to ETH getting a classification, then you're in this grey zone. So you can come after the fork.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
And do it, and do it in reverse
but look,
order.
I think they've got bigger fish to fry, man. I think they're too busy extorting $4.3 billion from CZ, and then looking at what type of yacht they want to buy. So my original point, which is a very long-winded point, and I apologize for this, but if the DOJ, SEC going after CZ and Binance, they're also going after Kraken and potentially other exchanges that are operating in the US. So one, they're going to push these exchanges to stop operating in the US. They're just going to all start working internationally, like overseas, which is sort of stymieing the industry, and which is a real shame for the US. But really,
and on your point of view, I guess, on where you sit on that side. But
yeah. But it's interesting that they're sort of going after the exchanges now, and it's almost as if they're just clearing the board, clearing the way for the BlackRock ETFs, for Bitcoin spot, Ethereum spot. So then it's like, oh no, you can't. If you're American, you can't go to these dodgy exchanges because we've saved you from them, and also we've saved you. From them.
It's about.
But you can buy this. You can go on.
It's purely about control. That's what it's all about. Is they've got this. So. They're able to ignore it for a certain period of time because it was small and didn't really represent much in the grand scheme of things. But I think they can see that the tide's slowly shifted over the last 5-6 years, and it's gotten to a point now where it's like, guys, we need to rein this shit in, otherwise, it's going to be an issue for us.
They don't want it to compete. They don't want any competition with the
dollar. They need to
stocks,
maintain their position of control as a reserve currency, and this was a potential leak in the bucket. So now they've got to do whatever they can to rein it in, and you can't switch it off. If they could switch it off, they would have switched it off by now.
Yeah.
So the only way you can do it is sort of get control of it. They've got to try and get control of it somehow.
Yeah, and it's like Magic Carper right saying Coinbase the chosen exchange for bug eaters. I mean, they were suing Ben Armstrong as well, Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase. But I mean, did you see they've replaced CZ from Binance with basically a WEF puppet, with a member of the World Economic Forum? It's going to replace CZ. So they're putting their fingers in the pie.
Did you see that I think Somi had dropped that other little private message? And I think he'd done it ages ago as well. So he'd sent out a private message from, I don't know what group it was. But it was more or less saying that, and this was back in August that this message was written.
Right.
Where it said, a bit of a meme, the Saudis have made an offer to CZ, basically along the lines of, and I'm paraphrasing here, CZ, they'll buy a certain percentage share in Binance. They'll launch a new exchange called M2, I think it was, or something like that, in Dubai. They'll give CZ protection in the UAE, and he might have to fall on a sword for and take a bit of a hit for his past past things that he's done with Binance.
I think he's a bit of a scapegoat. I mean, to me, it's just a bit of a scapegoat. Like they just threw him under the bus, basically.
He was very quick to agree to it.
Yeah.
So I think
I saw that the money. Sorry to interrupt. I saw that the money had moved on chain before they announced it. So I saw people were saying, "Why did Binance?" Well, they had sent $3.9 billion in Tether from Binance wallets to DOJ wallets, and people were like, what's going on? And then there was like a couple of hours, and then they did.
So Briz has got the comment in there as well.
Yep. I'm glad I can pull these comments up now. This is revolutionized it. Did you hear Did you guys
Yeah.
hear that rumor? Sisi was going to move to the United Arab Emirates and under the protection make a super exchange that the Arabs will control. Leave him and him leaving Binance was part of the plan. Okay, yeah, so that's what you're talking about. I mean, I have heard of in Saudi they were building some like full, I think it was like a city or something, and they were going to try and make it the new Silicon Valley, and they were doing all sorts of stuff because they're pretty bold with their building in those sorts of countries.
I actually don't think it would be a bad thing if they pulled this off.
Okay, interesting.
I just think the world.
I think there's always going to be.
I just don't think it continue to go the same way it has done, and like the cracks are appearing. Like everyone's fucking fed up with the way
there has to be some sort of competition, right? I mean, you can't just have everything in the world literally owned by BlackRock. Maybe you can, but it just seems like
we definitely do already.
Some competition, right? I mean, maybe it's like the Pepsi and Coke thing. It's like you need at least one other one. Maybe that's what Binance were trying to do. Although they're pretty shady and they have, suppressed our ranking and all this sort of stuff. So they're pretty dodgy. In terms of the competitive stuff, I saw recently, it was something where they were talking about, I think it was an Apple, there's some anti-competition laws, and it was basically because you know how you've got like these cash apps and things like that where you can exchange cash, people's mobiles, and there seemed to be there was some lawsuit where they were actually saying that they were suppressing crypto technology to send peer-to-peer crypto, and that was actually in breach of some anti-competition laws. So that might be interesting, because I like to see that, hang on, you guys have created all these like ridiculous laws, and now for once we can actually use them, to point out that you guys are being corrupt.
I think that's already been well established.
Yeah, it's almost as if like, even though it's established that they're corrupt, there's like nothing you can do about it. But I still like to chip away.
Yeah, I think the whole laws thing is a case of they don't really apply if you're big enough, or if you're at the top of the food chain. The laws are more or less irrelevant, and I think that's what we've seen play out in the last few years, where there's been some terrible shit go down in the last couple of years, but no one gets held accountable for it. So
100%.
Unfortunately, the laws are pretty flexible, it seems.
Yeah, I'll see if I can pull this up. So this is what I was talking about. Apple sued for blocking crypto tech for peer-to-peer trade payments. So there was some complaint against Venmo and Cash App and stuff like that. So yeah, okay, I like to see at least that people are fighting back, and that's what we've got that the regulating digital assets platforms thing in Australia. Only 8 days left, so have a read of that if you can.
Comment, was it that one?
Yeah, this was about the digital asset platforms in Australia. So there's a consultation paper.
Have you got the link for that one at all?
Yeah, man. Yeah, for sure. I'll send it to you. But it's basically I can put it in the chat.
Yeah, pop it in the chat. It'll be good for everyone else to pick up later as well.
This has revolutionized
I can't
my
keep up
world.
with all the different consultation stuff we've got to.
It's on my list to do, but like I've always been like with studying like university, whatever. I've always been a last minute sort of person. Like I just cram at the last minute, and so I'm just like literally, I've got 8 days to go. So in 7 days, I'm going to cram this into some AI and figure out what's up, and then
it's particularly around exchanges, I'm assuming.
Well, it's a bit open ended, and that's the problem with some of these things. Digital asset platforms.
Whatever the freak that is.
Exactly. Yeah, so anyway, I probably shouldn't comment on it too much because I haven't read it heaps, but it's definitely worth checking out. But yeah, I do kind of get the impression that finding CZ,
no,
getting rid of,
this is actually
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I think we've got a bit of a delay here today.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so they actually do define digital asset platforms at the very beginning. So digital asset platforms are platforms that hold people's digital assets for them. These are also known as crypto exchanges or brokers. So this has nothing to do with DeFi. This is all about centralized stuff by the looks of it, which is fine. I think they probably need a little bit of guidance.
But still, you know, it's still worthwhile. While we've got the ability to comment, you should read it, understand it, and then have your say. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And there's a comment there from, can you just read that? Sorry, I've got something else going on.
Watch Lex Friedman, Elon Musk interview from 2 weeks ago. Wall Street scams retail and shorts them while convincing retail to go long. Musk states no one has ever been charged. Funny that. Yeah. I think it's what's that saying? Rules for them and not for thee, or something like that. Or
that's right. Well, it's the golden rule. Whoever has the gold makes the rules.
Gold makes the rules. Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's what it is. I was just going to quickly, while I've got you, and I know you've probably got to disappear soon. You know how we were talking about that Nakamoto coefficient thing a while back?
Yeah.
And I, in classic Dozer fashion, hadn't really done my full research on it, but I'm still keen to do a bit more research into it, and I want to fully understand this Nakamoto coefficient, but I had sort of roped in Corky to kind of try and get that on. So let me see if I can quickly bring this up. It hasn't been put on yet.
Oh, it hasn't been merged yet?
No, so he put in the pull request, and then there was some problem with it, and then it sort of came back with a really high number. But one thing I wanted to point out, just as like a correction to what, because we were talking about this, and I just assumed that you wanted to have a low number. I think when you asked me, it was like, is a low number good? And we were like, it must be, because Ethereum's is good, right? It's like, it's low. It's not. So this is very basic, right? But basically, what it is they, here we go. The Nakamoto coefficient is defined by the number of node operators that together control more than 1/3 of all stake on the network. So it's about its susceptibility to like 51% attacks and that sort of stuff. It's security effectively, and so that's also a metric of its decentralization. So the reason why Ethereum only has 2, which is really low, right? Is because 40% of Ethereum proof of stake nodes are controlled by 2 addresses.
So Lido and
I think it's Rocket Pool.
Rocket Pool and Lido. Yeah,
I think this Sentiment or whoever they did some survey on they checked all the Ethereum proof of stake nodes. They said that 46% were controlled by only 2 addresses, and I think it was like Coinbase. Oh, here we go. Blockchain analytics showing 5 entities holding 64% of all staked ETH, with Coinbase, Kraken, Binance, but accounting for nearly 30% of staked ETH. So and then also you've got the AWS, the Amazon Web Servers. There's like 3 cloud providers which have 2/3 of all of the Ethereum nodes.
That would actually be an interesting one for PulseChain, because everyone's sort of picked up their own little devices and set up validators there.
That's what I was thinking.
Even some of the larger, even some of the larger guys that are validating, who I know that hold a reasonable percentage of the validators, they're doing it on their own hardware.
Exactly. At least it's on their own hardware. So there's another threat vector, is that Ethereum, 52% of the nodes are held by cloud services through Amazon. So in actual fact, Ethereum doesn't have a good Nakamoto coefficient. It has a terrible coefficient because it's literally
So, out of that, so they're talking stake. Do they look at miners as well as part of that, or that's purely just POS networks that they're looking at?
Proof of stake. Yeah, it's only proof of stake nodes, and it's just about how many of those nodes are owned by the same address.
Now that we understand that a little bit more, can we go have a look at Solana and things like that?
Yeah, so some of these aren't as bad. I mean, Polygon's only got 4, so this, and Solana's 23. So it is interesting. Mina's 88. So I think we're about 26 or something. Like I think that was our Nakamoto coefficient, and we'll have to wait and see until the jury is in. But at least it's not terrible. It's not like, I don't think, people were painting it out to be really terrible and saying, oh, well, Ethereum is the best. Well, that's actually a fallacy. Like Ethereum has a terrible Nakamoto coefficient for the points I just literally stated.
Yeah. Well, I think that's always been a concern. Everyone's been aware of that.
I didn't really know. I mean, I knew about the cloud providers. Like I knew that, say at least half of the nodes were stored in the cloud, but I didn't realize that 40% of the nodes were controlled by 2 addresses.
So because that's, so remember going back to, when the SEC was coming after everyone for the staking as a service stuff, and everyone was concerned about, okay, well, how would someone like a Coinbase react in that scenario? Would they just stop all the staking, or
That's a good comment. I like that. Sorry to interrupt.
So that was always a big concern with ETH staking. Like there is a couple of big centralized entities that hold it all. It's not totally representative of what could happen on a network though. So for instance, on PulseChain, whilst we might have a good coefficient because of staking, you're not taking into account all the liquid. So it's a pretty hard thing to
but in terms of the nodes, how many nodes are controlled?
Yeah, but how many of those someone could just go bang and fire them up?
Oh, I see what you're saying, because there's that much liquid out there. Okay, that's an interesting point. Well, there's like 135 trillion or something is the total supply, but that's with the OA. But that's why the OA is an asset, and I've said this before.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. The OA could flick that switch anytime, though. So you've got to be...
Yeah, but the OA has always been benevolent so far.
Like, don't get me wrong. I'm not. I'm just saying that all these things are varying degrees, and you can't, just because our coefficient may look good, doesn't
as a ratio compared to the available liquid supply. Yeah, I do see what you're saying, but I do think that if there was an attack like that, then the OA can step in, and that's why it's an asset, because it can just go, bam, all of a sudden.
I know, but I'm saying
spin up.
Yeah, and I totally agree, but I don't think there's enough liquid out there to be able to. Actually, that's probably not true. Maybe there is enough liquid to make 33% non-OA liquid to get 33% of the validators. I don't know if that's possible, but what I'm suggesting is the fact that there is the OA means that coefficient could change on a dime. So we probably wouldn't want to get, if our number looks great now, you probably wouldn't want to get too excited about using that as a point to attack other chains. And
I'm not going to attack other chains, but I can use it as defense if people are saying that our coefficient is shit. It's like way better than Ethereum's, that's for sure. And so the supply is 135 trillion. If you include the OA, if you exclude it, it's 15 trillion. So you could divide by 32 million and figure out, or plus you'd have to have a look and see what's already.
Just go to the validators.
validators. Yeah, that's true.
And you'll be able to see the stake. So
staked PLS is 1.64 trillion.
So you could work out 26% of that. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's basically.
Well, what's
15 trillion?
Yeah.
It's like it's about a tenth of the supply.
So you'd need 5 trillion to have 33% of the network. Is that what you're saying?
5 trillion. Yes, would be 33%. Yep, correct.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, more food for thought. I don't think anyone is really and plus, look, I'm not sure if this is Mango Junkie taking the piss with Banana Junkie, or if that's a separate guy. Mango Junkie's decided he's jumped ship and he's gone. He's now a banana maximalist. I'm not sure, but yeah, we should probably keep it a little bit light. Let me do one thing, which is look at the price and just I'm going to give you my bull case for really quickly. BTC's making higher highs. This is on the weekly frame. 10 MA is above the 20 MA on the weekly. Price is above everything. Bull mode confirmed. We've talked about this before. Like I said, that when the price dropped below the 20 MA, I was a little bit concerned because that happens very rarely. And then it just pretty much went straight back up. This was all the BlackRock ETF stuff, and it hasn't turned back since. In terms of like people sort of saying that this could be like hyper bull and all this sort of stuff, and it's going to crash. It's like if you look at total 2. We were up at, this is not including Bitcoin, 1.6 trillion. And we're not even like 0.6, 0.7 of a trillion. So we've got a long way to go, right? In terms of like.
That's actually looking pretty reasonable, that chart there. It's
grinding. It looks like it crashed. It had a correction and there's a bit of a ringing, like a natural ringing. And then now it's starting to look a little bit.
That's actually like there's a bit of an ascending wedge there, so it's looking all right.
Yeah, it's making higher highs. I mean,
ascending triangle. Sorry, it's looking okay.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. This is the higher lows, I should say, on total 2. Stock market did a bit of a V-shaped recovery from this the Israel-Palestine thing. That's bullish, and again, the price is above the 10 and the 20. I mean, they haven't crossed yet, but it looks like they will. And then if you go to like Pulse, this is against DAI. So we've just been making higher lows all the way. And even grinding. Here, been grinding. This is a higher low. So, I
think if we can get our head above, if we can get our head above SAC price, like average SAC price,
that's go time.
That's when I think, that's when things change, because you haven't got too many people underwater at that point, unless people have aped in at the top, which obviously a percentage had. There's always,
and people are always. People are always going to be like, wake me up when it's a 1x, like that guy with his comment about let me know, when it's a 1x. I think, back to the SAC. But then also then you've missed your opportunity, because I think we're all kind of expecting it to head in that direction, at least, But it's like if you can get in early, drop your DCA, drop your average buy, and then the SAC price is no longer your SAC price, right? Like
that's right. Yeah,
it's not your average buy price.
Banana Junkie, is that so? Steve from Crypto Crew reckons it'll top out at that, only a 2x from here.
BTC only a 2x, 70k, says Steve, the Crypto Crew guy. I don't know who Steve, the Crypto Crew guy, is, but
yeah, no, he's good actually.
70k, nah.
if you
those are
were,
rookie numbers, man.
he's actually been pretty spot on all his calls. He takes a long-term view on the market, and he charts a lot of Bitcoin. But he's pretty good. He's pretty sensible sort of guy. So if there's someone you should be watching on YouTube, he's one of them.
I'll check him out. Yeah, I'm not,
good.
Discounting him or anything, but I do think 70K is low. Like, I mean, that's basically 67K was the previous all-time high. So I don't think people are going to be hanging around crypto if the second cycle is doesn't even breach the previous all-time cycle. Like, if you think of the previous cycles, we had like 20K top and went to 67. At least that's like a 3x, right? So if you say diminishing returns, maybe a 2x, that's putting it like at 130K. So 70K, I don't know if BlackRock and these guys are going to be
70K might be a little bit light, I reckon.
Well, look, yeah, we can agree to disagree. I think we probably see, I'd like to see at least in that sort of, 85, 95 sort of K range. I mean, it may not break the 100, but BTC. But if it does, 120 maybe, something like that. Yeah. I mean, that's only really a 2x. That's nothing really to be running home about. But I do think that there's more ROI in the PulseChain sort of ecosystem. And so Hex versus Pulse has sort of been rolling over. I talked about this, like in terms of like the ratio of like Hex was outperforming PLS quite well from the sacrifice from the launch of PulseChain. And then now as a ratio, it's starting to sort of, unless we bounce off this and it keeps going up, but it does sort of seem like PulseChain is starting to take over a bit of dominance.
Can you zoom out a little bit so I can get a bit more chart there?
Oh, there's not a whole lot more. That's on the daily. So that's literally from May.
Yeah.
But so it started off at like, say 100 pulse per hex. And then it peaked at about 250 pulse per hex. And now we're at sort of 174. So just, it'd be interesting to watch this ratio anyway, if you're trying to, accumulate. And Base Radian says, scenario, the attacker trying to generate an alternate chain faster than the honest chain. Oh, okay. That's probably back to the Nakamoto coefficient. Gotcha. Actually, Base Radian knows a lot about this stuff. Like, he's a Bitcoin OG as well. I think he knows a lot about this stuff. So it'd be interesting maybe if we can coerce him to come on one day. And plus he's a dev, does a bunch of metaverse stuff as well, which is pretty cool. Everyone is wrong about 250K. Okay. Or
that I would agree with.
High. Yeah. I never said 250. That is
Arthur Hayes has put it at 1 million.
Look, I mean, there is one thing that I've seen which is kind of interesting, and we should probably wrap this up. But like, I used to think, $1 million per Bitcoin, you got to be kidding me. Like, that's just, pie in the sky stuff, pie hole in the sky stuff. But if you think of it in terms of sats, like to satoshis, so what is it, 100 million satoshis per Bitcoin? So
I'll take your word for it.
I think it is, because it's the same as Hex. It's like 100 million hearts per Hex. So it's like, if you had $1 million Bitcoin, that means you've got like 1 cent satoshis. So it just might be that the unit bias changes, so that people start talking in satoshis, and they're like, oh, this thing costs 200,000 sats or 100,000 sats, or I'm going to buy myself, 1 million sats or something like that. And it just sounds impressive. But it's like, you're 0.00000 of Bitcoin.
What happens when a sat is not a small enough unit of division?
Good point. Then they have to fork the chain and do some crazy stuff. But I mean, at $1 million Bitcoin, I think that's 1 cent sats. So you could still use that as a metric to be like,
is that correct?
you know, I'm going to buy a meat pie for 500 sats.
That's not right, is it?
Yeah, 100 million.
So
100
1 million
sats per
divided
Bitcoin.
by 18.
So
is that right?
$1 million. So you're saying 1 divided by 100. Isn't that 1 cent?
Hang on. I'm just trying to, what are we trying to do here? So if you go, it's $1 million.
On-stream maths is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to do the opposite, don't you? 10.
It'd be 1.
Too hard to do
I think it's 1 cent. Anyway, don't quote me on it. I'm pretty sure it's right.
Yeah.
Until my disclaimer next week.
It sounds like you've done the work.
No, I just because I was thinking about it, because I was thinking where I was thinking about it was thinking, what is the equivalent of a Bitcoin in Pulse? Like, so say you've got 15 trillion as the non-OA supply of Pulse, right? If you divided that by 21 million, it's like, 7 million or whatever Pulse, like, would be the equivalent of 1/21 millionth of the Bitcoin supply is 1 Bitcoin. The 1/21 millionth of the Pulse supply is like 7 million Pulse. So that's what I was thinking, but I didn't want to say that because probably no one cares.
Hang on, equals.
Is there anything else bullish that we should be talking about in the chat? We got Thos Pump. We got Thanksgiving. Aussies win the World Cup. I don't know. There seems like there's liquid loans coming out. We got Tetra coming out. 9 mil V3 coming out.
I can't keep up with everything that's coming out. There's so much cool stuff.
And one last thing that I will mention. Have you seen this Token Express bridge?
Token Express bridge? No, I have not.
So the only reason why I bring it up is because if you go to, because I'm pretty lazy when it comes to the bridge, I just go to pulsechain.com and then go to the bridge. But as it turns out, that is a good way of doing it, because this site is being updated. This is v1.01. So it is getting updated every now and then. And you've got your IPFS links to the bridge there.
Can you click on that for a second? If you
I
open it in a new. Can you open in a new tab or?
I can, but I think my oh no, oh yeah, well, my malware protection thing sometimes kicks in. I think it's on the Hex IPFS, but not on the bridge one. Yeah.
So what I've been that's what I wanted to show people is it's been happening a lot where you get a certificate error.
Right.
And it's thrown a few people because they don't know how to deal with it once it happens.
Okay.
Now, I haven't had a good look in it to see what is the easy fix and what's the cause of it all.
Yeah.
But it seems to be like a Chrome setting or something you can probably just tweak.
Well, look, it still works. It works fine. And I mean, but one thing I was going to say
doesn't even open the page. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I just did open in a new tab and it worked. But I just clicked on the IPFS link because people were having a cry that you have to, build the XE, you have to install it, but you don't. You can just literally use the IPFS links. Click on the link. It's like one extra click. But down here, this is the community sites, Token Express. So it's on the main bridge.pulsechain.com website. I presume it's been vetted by the PulseChain devs or RH. They wouldn't put it on there.
So.
You would hope. And it's literally looks like another front end for it. So anyway,
front end for
either it's a front end
bridge?
for the Pulse bridge or it's a separate bridge. I haven't used it, man, but I just saw it was on the actual website. I was like, not many people talking about it. So and it looks like they've got the wrapped Pulse contract address.
Yeah, if you click on Bridge Explorer.
Yeah, I just did. Yeah, I don't know. Is that just,
might have taken out to the contract. Yeah.
I might have to connect a wallet to it or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a Telegram and stuff, and But the fact that it's listed on this website must mean that it's been vetted by someone, you would think. Otherwise, I might try it. Yeah, I'll probably try it and then let you know how I go. I just saw Blue Bum in the chat. Shout out to Bluey. Beat privacy on PulseChain. Yeah, so I was going to mention that. So I was actually hoping that Blue would come on and maybe explain it a bit to me, because I know they just launched this sugar beat, the steak and shake. I mean, I know they had the cross-chain swaps, and they seem to have, I think there was XMR swaps, but I'm not sure if that was just on Ethereum and then you can use the bridge. But this sugar beet thing, I don't know anything about it. I'm sorry, but I was hoping that there might be a sort of privacy solution.
I haven't looked into this, but I think I heard.
We have to get Bluey on. Maybe he can explain it
and
to
you can
us.
do. It's not just about the native asset as well. I think you can do others.
Not sure, man.
And there was something like everyone puts a certain. I'm going to really butcher this, but everyone can put into like a pool. So you've got like a pool of assets sitting there that people can mix through.
Yeah, right.
Is my understanding on the roughly how it works. That's about
cool.
the extent of my knowledge at the moment, though.
There you go. And looks like MCR knows what's up. He said Brett up knows let's just say Brett. I think his name's Brett. I always say Brett up because that's his handle, but I assume Brett knows the Token Express guys. And then he said that it looks like Token Express is its own bridge. Yeah, that sort of what it looked like. Blue Bomb's on his way to the airport. It's not cross-chain. Okay, we'll have to, just on Pulse, we'll have to maybe get Bluey on to talk about that. And best friend is talking about Timex. Okay, there you go. So yeah, is there anything else that we have missed apart from there's been a whole bunch of stuff going on with Binance and all this SEC stuff. Although I think in terms of the RH ecosystem, that's just going to be like a non-event until February, and then even then,
I don't even. That's not going to get resolved this cycle. So I wouldn't be that let that be the determining factor on what you do this cycle. Just let it bubble away in the background. Don't lose sleep over it. What will be will be.
I think with that many coins being listed as potential securities, like it's just now diluted that. That's the
way I look at this as well. It's just anyone that has stuck their head up is they've stuck their head up out of the trench. They're likely to get a shovel swung at it. So that's sort of where we're at the moment. So going to be a lot of shovels getting swung around for the rest of this market, I think.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be too worried about it.
For sure, man. Awesome. Well, is there anything you wanted to shout out before we head off?
No. You briefly mentioned it, the liquid loans thing. That's actually what. Actually, let's step back a little bit. So the Fetch Oracle is now being deployed privately on mainnet, apparently. And that's undergone all the various audits and the tweaking from those audits. So that's a pretty big deal. That will lead to a lot of other things using that, one being liquid loans, which was waiting on that. Power City guys were waiting on that. Probably a bunch of other
Power
people
City.
a bunch of other people will probably tap into it once it's live, and it'll hopefully get a lot more use, because we literally don't have anything like that on the network. So once Fetch is up and running, that does change the game a little bit.
Awesome.
I'll tell you why it's important, guys. I was trying to get something launched that is running on, so it uses some NFTs for some creative things where you can deliver like course content using NFT gating and things like that. It's running on a lot of the other ETH-based, the EVM-based networks. I pushed hard to try and get it on PulseChain. had it all queued up in their Git repo as a pull request. And the guys tried to work with us to get it up there, but we don't have things like graph nodes, so that makes it hard. We don't have support from Gnosis on the chain, so that makes it hard. Now, the Liquid Loans team have fired up a Gnosis safe front end, but it's not the one delivered by the core team. And so we're hitting a few of these roadblocks when we're trying to get things done. So the more of these services that we can make available, the easier it's going to be for other teams that want to be supportive. Yeah. So teams that exist on other EVMs and Ethereum, there's some of them, whilst they won't actively come out and promote Pulse, they do want to engage with us, and they do want to. There's a massive community there, so they want to tap into that, but there's things missing that they just can't. It's stopping them from coming across easily. So the more of those things we get, the better off we'll be. There's
for sure.
What I've noticed a lot is a lot of teams will, behind closed doors, be supporters of PulseChain, but they won't be out loud and proud about the fact that they've got Pulse connectivity and stuff like that. So we're gonna have to struggle with that for a little bit.
I think, well, to me, it's just more the community's kind of sick of talking about things that aren't out. Like, so once it's out, it's like, get Walrus in here and explain it to me, and people will be keen. It's just like, but I don't really waste mental energy if it's like,
no, I'm talking. No, sorry. Let me clarify that. There's teams of developers that are working on projects that are on ETH and all the other EVMs.
Right.
They want to tap into the community and everything that Pulse has, but they don't want to upset the ETH bros.
Yeah, right.
Because that's a bit of a cliquey group. So the Fetch guys, so Teller, they were in a little bit that boat as well. So they understand that Chainlink owns everything on ETH. If they want to be able to grow their position in the market and expand, they need to work with other chains and teams. So they're very supportive of that. That's just good business sense. So they all want to tap into that growth and that user base, but they're not going to be out loud and proud saying, "Oh, we're integrating with PulseChain and things like that," because it's still a bit of a dirty word in the ETH bro camp. So,
gotcha.
We've probably got a cycle we need to go through before it's not a dirty word anymore.
Yeah, right. Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. I think we should probably wrap it up. And but yeah, thanks for coming on, Jexa. I really appreciate it. And thanks to the chat for all the comments. I'm stoked that I can bring your comments up here now, and so I feel like we can be a bit more engaged with the audience.
Yeah.
And Clintrons has given us the great stream. Happy Friday. So yeah, thanks to the chat.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, Jexa.
And thanks for having me on.
And yeah, too easy, mate. I'll see you next week. Same time, same back channel.
Yeah, definitely.
And yeah, enjoy the beers while it's hot. I need a refill over here. And yeah, enjoy your Friday, everybody. Thanks very much. Catch ya.